Adam and Eve were walking with God, and they were sinless at that point, but not perfected. So they didn't have maturity in their relationship with God yet, and they would have ascended if they'd continued to walk out that relationship with God into other levels of ascension, revelation, identity, as they would have walked that out. So in the situation, Adam was not deceived. Eve was deceived because she only heard what God had said through Adam. So Adam chose to follow Eve because Adam was actually a type of redeemer, because Adam knew that only through childbirth would his children in the future and Eve be restored. So Adam wasn't deceived, and it says that in the New Testament that Adam wasn't deceived, but Eve was. Now, what was the nature of that deception? It does indicate that the serpent was a being that was able to speak, and that they may well have had connection with that before. But the opportunity of choosing independence was a deception. And the deception cast doubt on who God was in terms of being loving and kind and all of that stuff, in a way that reached into the soul of Eve's, I can be like God. Now, in everyone, there is the inbuilt aspect of eternity is placed in our hearts, which is a desire to come back to the place where we were before we came into this realm. So Adam and Eve both would have a spirit before they came into the earthly realm, and there was something within the eternity in the heart which is wooing them back to that, or to come into the reality of that, which actually was deceivable, if you like. The deception would have been just a small twist. Did God say? It's like, is God holding out on you? You can be like God. You can be God. And it's sort of built on the thing that Jesus dealt with, the same things, the pride of life, the three things that Jesus dealt with from Satan in the garden, or in the wilderness, sorry, was the same things. Jesus did not fall for the deception. It's like Satan offered Jesus the kingdoms of the earth without having to go through a process. He offered him to turn stones into bread and all that stuff. There was this temptation. So there was a temptation that Eve succumbed to. When Eve succumbed to it, Adam chose. Now, they didn't know what was going to happen, but ultimately they found themselves hiding from God because they were afraid of what they'd done, and they were naked. They had never seen themselves. Something changed. The glory that was external, their spirit was external, became internalized. Change took place as a result of it. But ultimately, what we need to focus on now is that we can come into a place of ascended sonship if we continue to walk in our relationship with God, find the internal garden of our heart, rivers of living water flowing from our innermost being, build up that relationship that will keep us from deception, because we have God within us in a way that they would have eventually come to if they had not chosen. They were living the external. They had not yet come into the oneness of the internal. That would have taken place, but obviously now Jesus came as the last Adam to undo everything the first Adam did. Everyone died in Adam. Everyone's made alive in Christ. And now, in what Jesus has done, we're all included in the new covenant of that blessing of being one new man, the new creation, which is a opportunity for us to continue the process of being restored, our identity and sonship being revealed, our heavenly place being fully restored in all of that. And that's where I would encourage you to focus, not be too concerned with what happened. Adam and Eve were fruitful. They did fulfill the sonship mandate before Eve chose to act independently. Adam and Eve did have lots of children, a lot of those children followed Adam as their father, and they went into the same sin that Adam chose to enter in with Eve, independence. So there were those who didn't sin according to the sin of Adam, and they followed God back through the fiery sword, through the way of the pathway of the tree of life. And they still operate in the realms of heaven right now and have never died. Adam and Eve could have gone through the fiery sword, but they would have had to go through the purification of fire, and they chose to hide from God, and God continued to look out for them, found them, clothed them with skin, so that they would have an opportunity of living in this world, not being clothed with glory, but being clothed with skin. So things changed dramatically after that point, and eventually, they couldn't have access to the tree of life in their state without going through the fire of transformation and in that dimension. So if you enjoy these videos, would you please take a moment to like, comment and subscribe? It really does help. Thank you very much.